Well, we've spent a couple of days now collecting all the supplies that we're going to need to put together our tea basket. So now it's time to actually do the assembly. And we're going to use all the things that we've collected so far. Plus, I have some pink felt that was made in the USA as well. And we also have some lovely pink tulle. And we're going to use a small Ziploc container that will hold some of our candy pieces as well. And we're going to put the whole project together. So how we're going to begin is, first of all, we're going to take our basket. What I want to have happen with our felt is make a lovely drape to lay inside the basket, protect the bottom, and be kind of the base of our color scheme. So we're going to cut some fabric in a diagonal pattern that will be 4 inches in each direction longer than the basket. So the basket lengthwise is 8 inches. So I'm going to measure 4 inches on either side, gives us 16 inches that we're going to cut. And we have 6 inches in this direction, so we're going to add 4 to either side. And that is going to give us 14 inches, and we're going to kind of do 14 by 16 on the diagonal with our felt. So first thing we're going to do is do some measuring. Okay, now I'm going to make this a little bit easier by starting on the corner. And I'm going to measure 16 inches and I'm going to mark it. Try and keep that as straight as possible. We'll mark it here. And then going 8 inches in to find our center. I will then mark 14 inches, and I'm going to just even this out by using my pen as a guide so that I have some lines to follow so that I can cut a very nice even piece. And that will lay out very nicely for the inside of our basket. Sometimes the fabric isn't exactly at right angles, but it's certainly going to be close enough for our purposes. So, you'll notice we don't want this to be a perfect square exactly. We want this to kind of work with our rectangle shape. In finding the fabric and making sure that our felt was made in the USA, I was looking a little more closely at the spines in the fabric store, and that was very interesting to get on the search and find some wonderful felt to use. Now that we have our piece of felt cut, we will put it in so that it sits very nicely, and there's just a little bit of an overhang here. I didn't want too much, just enough so that we've got kind of that nice kerchief look going on inside our basket. Okay, now it's time to add in some of our pieces. And what I'm going to start with is probably the last piece we'll put in, the chocolate gourmet mint that we found a couple of days ago. We really don't need quite that large a container. So I'm going to take this smaller Ziploc container and just take a few for our basket here. That way we'll get several gifts out of one container. So I've got a small container here of the candies, but just to pretty it up a little bit, I'm going to stick it into our container, into our basket like this, but I printed on the computer a little gift tag. So we're going to just attach that with a little bit of double-sided tape, and that'll just pretty up the front of our candy. We've got the double side, and we shall peel that off. Put the tag on the bottom. I'm going to hang on to this. We have our Bigelow tea. We have our Bogdan's candy sticks. And we have our Dryden and Palmer rock candy sticks. So I'm going to put the biggest item in the back. That'll help to support the basket as well. Followed by a couple of our medium-sized items. We'll tee in just like that. And our candy, and that just sort of fills out the basket very nicely. So now we've got our basket pretty well put together, but we want to wrap it up. So I've got the tulle, and the tulle we're going to just spread out. We can be a little generous with the amount of tulle that we use. We want to have enough, so like we've done before, we can do sort of the handkerchief style of wrapping and have enough on all the ends to wrap up and around. And it looks like we can just approximate that. I'm going to cut the tooling in a similar shape to what we did for the felt on the inside of the basket. And what's nice is this does not have to be exact, because in a few minutes we're going to wrap it upwards. And as long as it gathers nicely at the top, it'll still make for a beautiful presentation. So we'll just get it to approximately the shape that we would like to have. And I've got a little bit hanging up on all sides now. So you can see this is going to gather. And I want the front. The front is the most important part of the basket. So if I'm going to stretch it and gather it, I want the gathering to mostly be in the back. But we want it to be nice and tight, because this is going to kind of be in place of a cellophane. This tooling is nice. So you see how we're going to do this. Now what I need to do is take a little bit of our yarn here, and we will just snip a bit of the yarn. And it never hurts to have a buddy when you're tying a bow, you know. Have somebody hold it tight, but we're going to just get this bow started. Pull it tightly at the top, make our pretty bow. Get a little bit of the extra yarn off, and fold down our felt so it lays nicely inside the package as well. And there we go. We have our beautiful tea basket.